Hello class, welcome to our fourth week. It's hard to believe we're already halfway through this class, but that is the case. And as we start week 4, the emphasis is really going to be on research. Okay, we're going to be continuing working with our second assignment, which is reading the book of Ruth. But before I get too far into that, I want to cover one section of the worksheet, which is this course overview. I have returned your assignment 1 with feedback on it, and I want to make sure you know how to access that feedback. So if you haven't already done so, watch this little 2-minute video that will show you how to get to the feedback, and then include one comment or example of something I said you could work on, and then I did leave a code word somewhere in the document that I'd like you to enter here. Okay, so if you haven't done this already, pause this video, complete this section, and then come back. All right, so as I was saying, we're going to continue working on assignment 2, which is going to be due next Sunday, so kind of like 2 weeks from now. All right, this assignment is worth 15% of your overall grade, so it's the second highest scored assignment in the class. It's going to be 1,000 words, which is roughly 3 to 4 pages. And you can find more instructions on pages 11 and 12 in the syllabus. And I do have a sample essay under course resources that will help you. So here, let me walk you how to find it. If you go to our homepage, and if you go down course resources, go all the way down to right before the citations and formatting, you'll see sample assignment 2 paper. And this will give you an idea of what I'm looking for. So for some of you, last time you were maybe struggling a little bit with understanding how to format the essays and the different paragraphs. So this will give you a good example of what to look for and what to do in your paper. All right, so for assignment 2, actually before I move on, I want to explain how this assignment is matching up with our learning objectives for this course. All right, so in our syllabus, at the bottom of page 1, we have some learning outcomes. All right, and the first is to demonstrate the reading process moving from inspectional to analytic to syntopical reading. Okay, and that's a typo right there. So this week we're covering syntopical reading, and this is the type of reading that you use when doing research. It's when you read more than one source on a topic and you're comparing how these sources interact with each other and what they're all saying on this topic. Okay. We're still with assignment 2, focusing on literary analysis. We're treating the book of Ruth as our imaginative text, even though it's a real story. And then for 4, this is the first time we're really going to get into research, but that is a learning outcome of this class, is to be able to demonstrate that you understand how to do research in terms of reading and writing. Okay, so that's our main focus right now in this class. So a quick reminder, for assignment 2, you're to define, describe, and explain with examples the central textual conflict outlined in the book of Ruth. And when you're analyzing this conflict, you're supposed to pull examples from the book of Ruth. That's what illustrated throughout Ruth means right here. And you're also to pull in support from other sources. That's what the 3 interlocutors are. Okay, so last week you read Bayless's article. This week you're going to read another article by Raskus on the book of Ruth, and also you're going to be asked to find your own source on the book of Ruth. This can be an article, can be a book, it could even be a video. I would be open to that, but you must find another source to support you with the book of Ruth. All right, I'm going to give you guys 6 steps to write assignment 2, and we're only going to cover the first 2 tonight or this week. Next week, I will cover the remaining steps and walk you through how to do them. Okay, so just like with reading, where we have inspectional reading that gives you kind of a roadmap of where you're going to go in a preview, good writers lay the groundwork for an essay before they ever start a rough draft. Okay, that's writing's version of inspectional reading. Okay, and that's what we're doing with these steps. And what a lot of new writers don't always realize is that half of the work of writing you do before you ever put words on a page. By the time you're putting words on a page, you're really at the end of the writing process, which is why I have that at step 6. Okay, So for tonight, we're just going to focus on figuring out what is it that you want to say about the book of Ruth. Okay, so because the prompt kind of narrows you down a little bit, it says you must describe a textual conflict. That's where we're going to start. So what conflicts, disagreements, or points of tension are happening in the book of Ruth? And I recommend focusing on the main characters or maybe on the nation of Israel. So what conflicts are happening with Ruth, or what conflicts are happening with Naomi, or maybe even with Boaz? Okay. So go ahead and take a few minutes and think about this. Which of these conflicts do you think are central to the story, and which conflicts are moving the story forward? Okay, so it's not just a little temporary conflict, but it really is a conflict that's key to the understanding the central point of this story. So you're going to give me some of these conflicts in your worksheet. So I want you to brainstorm for a little bit. So go ahead, pause the video, complete this section, and then come back when you're done. All right, so hopefully you came up with at least 3 conflicts to kind of choose from. So now I want you to figure out how are you going to narrow that down, okay? So one thing to keep in mind with literature is there's more than one right way to approach what you think is a central conflict. There can even be more than one central conflict, okay? So there's no right or wrong answer with this per se, okay? In literature, it's more about how well can you defend your answer rather than getting the right or wrong answer, all right? So what I want you to focus on is think about what is the conflict in the story that you think is the most important to understanding the main message of the story, okay? And I recommend focusing on one type of conflict in this story, okay? Maybe conflict with society, or conflict with God, or conflict between 2 characters. Make sure that you're really narrowed in on just one conflict and you're not covering multiple conflicts. So look back at that list of conflicts that you generated and choose which one you want, and let me know what that conflict is, and I'll give you feedback on it when I go over these worksheets and let you know if I think you have a good conflict or not. So when you're done with this activity, go ahead and go on to the second video for this class session.